Today we're going to be taking a look at 75045 Republic AV-7 Anti-Vehicle Cannon. This set was released all the way back in January of 2014 and retired in December of 2015. It has 434 pieces and retailed for only $40 US. However, if you want this set new today, it's currently going for around $350 to $400. And as many of you know, the reason it's so valuable is because of those exclusive Wolfpack Troopers, which go for northwards of $80 a piece. Also, before we get into it, I just want to take a moment to appreciate the really nice 2014 episode 3 box art. It's gotta be one of my favorite LEGO Star Wars box arts of all time. I just love the blue color scheme with the lava and then the awesome graphic of Darth Vader reaching out. Taking a look at the instructions on the front, you're just gonna have a reprint of the box, and then it's gonna go into your typical LEGO building process, and then in the back you're gonna have advertising for LEGO.com as well as advertising for all of the other incredible sets that came out in 2014, including the Utapau Troopers Battle Pack, the Kashyyyk Troopers Battle Pack, and the AT-AP, just to name a few. Moving on to the figures, first up here we have the Droideka. This specific Droideka is exclusive to this set because of the specific colors it uses. However, its overall design was used in other sets and it was a pretty common Droideka throughout the early 2010s. A lot of people say this is one of the worst Droideka designs LEGO has ever made, and I don't think it's the worst, but I definitely don't think it's the best either. And if you want, you can attempt to fold it up into a ball and try to roll it around, but it doesn't really work. And then next up here we have the man himself, Plo Koon, and believe it or not, this is the last set that we got Plo Koon in. So yes, Plo Koon has not been made in 10 years. And I do have to say, he is a really cool figure. He doesn't have any leg printing, which is kind of a downside because the leg printing was expected in 2014. However, the rest of him does look really cool, especially his really unique head mold. And since this figure is from 2014, he has one of the older lightsabers that are prone to getting bubbles in them, as you can see here. And then last, but certainly not least, we have the famous Phase 2 Wolfpack Trooper. As I said at the beginning, these figures are the reason that this set is so valuable, as they go for about $80 to $90 a piece. And I do have to say, their value is definitely backed up because they look really awesome, and they are so far the only Phase 2 Wolfpack Troopers we've ever gotten. The printing is definitely not as detailed as the clone troopers we have today in 2024. However, it does go a long way, especially that wolf print on their helmet. And underneath their helmet, you're gonna find the old Clone Wars clone trooper head, which I forgot that they were still using at the time, which is interesting because the episode 3 clone troopers that were released at the same time have the sort of mid-2010s Jango face. And overall, I think this was a great minifigure lineup for this set. 4 figures for $40 is a very good deal that we definitely want to see today in 2024, and despite the figures being kind of obscure and not really fitting the scene, I'm still happy that LEGO went out of their way to give us unique characters. And now moving on to the model itself, it looks really awesome. However, it's not perfect like some of you might think it is, and we'll get into all of that. Starting off with the legs, I think LEGO did a pretty decent job on them. They're not super detailed, and there's some tiles here and there to make them look a little bit more sleek, and they can move at 2 different points. One point is sort of at a horizontal axis, so you can make it have a wider stance, and the second spot is on a vertical axis towards the feet, where you can actually make the feet point straight out. And you might be wondering why it does this, and the reason they did this is because there's wheels on the bottom allowing for it to roll around. Yes, it definitely looks kind of goofy, and I don't know why LEGO thought this was a necessary play feature, but it's there. On the sides of the cannon, you're gonna have these missiles, and I think they look really awesome down there, and their purpose is to be extra flickfire missiles for the flickfire missile on top, which we will get to, but still they look really awesome on the side, and you can set up a pretty cool scene where you have the clone troopers loading them. In between the legs on the front of the cannon, there's gonna be some black tile pieces that definitely give it a nice look, and same thing on the back, but there is this giant Technic knob sticking out, and you might be wondering what that is, and that's actually how you aim the cannon up and down. You just turn the knob and you can aim the cannon any way you want, and it actually has a pretty far range of motion, and I think this is an awesome play feature. And now moving on to the actual barrel of the cannon, it looks pretty awesome. There's a lot of nice detailing on it that I think LEGO really did their best job on. On the top here, like I mentioned earlier, there is a flickfire missile that you can try to fire as you want. It's kind of hard to fire because of its placement on the cannon, but it still does work as intended. And then on the other side of the barrel below the flickfire missile, you're gonna have this smaller side rocket. It's such a simple and small detail, but I really love how awesome it makes the side of the barrel look. And then going back to the other side of the cannon, there is actually a spring-loaded shooter that you can fire as you want. And off the top of my head, this is the only set I can think of that actually has both flickfire missiles and spring-loaded shooters. Another really awesome detail I like is these red tubes at the back of the barrel. They're sort of staggered and they wrap all the way around to the gunner's seat and just give the cannon a really awesome look. And speaking of the gunner's seat, there's not a whole lot going on. There's just a small printed tile that acts as the control panel, and then obviously you can take one of your clone troopers and sit him in the seat. Now you might have noticed that throughout the build, there are a few yellow pieces scattered around here and there, and this is one of my problems with this set. I think those yellow pieces definitely take away from the look of the model. Yes, in universe, the cannon does have a few yellow markings here and there, and I give props to LEGO for trying to recreate that. However, with actual LEGO pieces, there's just too much contrast, and I think it takes away from the look. I honestly probably would have preferred it more if they just kept those pieces gray. Another sort of nitpick I have with this set is I think the barrel of the cannon is too short. In universe, they're a lot longer and have more of an aggressive look, and I just don't really think LEGO's model really captures that. It still looks awesome, I just think the barrel needs to be a bit longer, and I assume the reason they didn't make it any longer is because it would sag, and if you look at it directly from the side, it does sag just a little bit, as you can see here, but it's barely noticeable. So I think they could have gotten away with making it maybe one piece longer, and if they still didn't want to make it one piece longer, I think they should have removed the flickfire missile on the top, just to make the barrel appear a little bit longer and a little bit thinner. I mean, there's already the spring-loaded shooter on the side, so I think the flickfire missile on top is a bit unnecessary. However, those two issues I have definitely don't make or break the model, it just makes it not look as good as I think it could. But I mean, still, it looks awesome. It's a very unique build and a very unique set with awesome exclusive clone troopers, and despite it not looking as intimidating as it does in the Clone Wars, it still does look really cool on display, and getting this back in 2014 for $40 was an incredible deal. So I'm gonna give this set a 9 out of 10. Now, do I think you should pay $400 for this today in 2024? Well, that's your choice. Those Wolfpack troopers are really cool. However, I wouldn't recommend buying this set just for those troopers. If that's all you want, I'd recommend just buying them on their own and pulling the trigger on the $80 to $90 price point. But if you want Plo Koon and the Droideka as well as this very unique build along with the troopers, go for it. I'm not here to tell you how to spend your money, I'm just here to give you my opinions. Let me know what you guys think about this set down in the comments below, and if you're new, please consider subscribing, and if you want to check out more of my videos, you can see them on the screen right now.